What's up, Owl Squad? Welcome to another episode of Sunday Thoughts, the series where on every Sunday I give my thoughts on a particular person, place, event, news, and everything else in between. I am your host, Logan Battles, and for this Sunday Thoughts episode, I'm going to be talking about a man that has just made the news this past week, if not couple weeks. And that man goes by the name of Robert Francis Prevost. I believe I got his last name right. For those of you that don't know, first of all, I don't know how you have not heard of this news because pretty much everybody knows what happened this past week with the new pope that was just elected. But second, in case you genuinely didn't actually know, living in whatever rock you're in under, allow me to give you a brief summary of what just happened this past week. You know, what sort of big news story there was that broke this past week. So here it is. So on Thursday, May 8th, Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost has been elected as the new pope and will be known as Pope Leo XIV, making him the first U.S.-born pontiff. The election took place on the second day of the papal conclave following Pope Francis' death. And while the 69-year-old cardinal himself was born in the United States, specifically Chicago, Illinois, which is where Barack Obama also came from, he has spent most of his life living in Peru and was thus a naturalized Peruvian citizen. He chose the name Leo XIV in reference to the last pope to bear that name, Leo XIII, which I will put a picture of him right up here and then a name down here. The conclave lasted in less than 24 hours with 3 rounds, signaling a swift election. He made his first remarks as the new pope from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, I believe I got that right as well, calling for peace and paying tribute to Pope Francis, who passed away on, if I'm not mistaken, April 21st, which was late last month. And as the new pope, Prevost is expected to build on the reforms initiated by his predecessor, Pope Francis. So yeah, that's pretty much the summary of what just happened this past week. We have the new pope. And not just that, we have the first ever American pope, born from Chicago, Illinois, the same birthplace that Barack Obama came from, as I mentioned earlier. And so the fact that we got our first ever pope as an American for the first time in, centuries? Because I think the first pope, from my understanding, started or dates back to the 14th or 13th century, or no, 15th century, if I'm not mistaken, back in the 1400s. And so the fact that we have the new pope as an American born from Chicago, Illinois, is just really surprising. That this is the news that wasn't expected to be broken. More specifically, the name, Robert Prevost. It was not expected to be him, an American, becoming the new pope. There were other names that come a long way during this election, conclave. He was rarely mentioned early on in the enclave, at least on the first day of the conclave. In fact, I'll give you a quote from one of the cardinals who was at the conclave while the election was still going on for the new pope, from this one article by Axios. In that paragraph, it was a quote from one of the cardinals who goes by the name of Wilton Gregory, who had this to say about Robert Prevost. I almost forgot about his last name. He said, quote, "It wasn't that he got up and made this overwhelmingly convincing speech that just wowed the body, but I do believe he engaged quite effectively in the smaller group conversations." That quote to me pretty much sums up who Robert Prevost is and how he's going to turn out to be as the new pope going forward, considering that he is the successor to the late Pope Francis. Because Pope Francis, even as the leader of the Catholic Church, which is not the best type of church or religion to be a part of, based on some controversies, let's just say that, but as the leader of the Catholic Church, I will say Pope Francis, in terms of helping people, giving them food when they're hungry, water when they're thirsty. He was pretty democratic in the ways that he helped people, pretty much like how Jesus has helped feed the hungry, feed the thirsty, and heal the sick. That sort of thing. Like, people were seeing Pope Francis, based on what he did through his actions, as being the closest we have gotten to Jesus and what he stands for. Not saying that he is Jesus, but rather the closest person we have got to being Christ-like in terms of giving people food, water, and medicine, and other stuff to help people out. Something you would not normally hear from other members of the Catholic Church, least of all. I mean, there is a whole, Wikipedia page dedicated to the cases of child abuse by priests, preachers, and, other members of the Catholic Church, especially here in the United States. And in fact, this leads me to one of the criticisms that I have heard about of, Robert Prevost, now that he's the new Pope. One of the criticisms that I heard about Robert Prevost is that he was complicit in the priests, pastors, and preachers within the Catholic Church that were accused of sexual assault against minors. Like, there were multiple cases of people coming out against members of the Catholic Church for what they did to them when those people were little kids, or rather younger kids. And Robert Prevost, from what I heard, didn't say anything to punish those pastors, preachers, and priests for what they did. Those heinous acts that they have done to certain group of individuals that are a bit young. I can't confirm that to be true, so take that information as you will. So, do I think Robert Prevost is going to be a great pope? Well, I don't know about great, but I would suspect that based on how Pope Francis turned out to be, I would suspect that Robert Prevost might go into a similar path to how Pope Francis took, except being a much different person and doing other different things from Pope Francis, not being a copycat of Pope Francis. I do think he will do well, but only time will tell. Whatever happens, I hope he does well, and I just wish him nothing but the best. So, good luck to you, Robert, because I do think that you're going to need it at some point, especially while you're serving as the new Pope, replacing Pope Francis. So anyway, guys, those are my Sunday thoughts on Robert Francis Prevost, aka Leo XIV, Pope Leo XIV, as the new Pope. For my next video, I will be getting back to doing more trailer reactions, except this one will be my reaction to the first official trailer for One Battle After Another. And my reaction to that trailer will be up here on this channel tomorrow, so stay tuned. I hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a great week, Battle Squad, and as always, fight the good fight. If you enjoyed what you see here, click like on this video, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to turn on that bell icon so that you don't miss my newest videos. I will see you next time.